What's up, everybody? Stacking Surfer. Welcome to the live stream today. I've got a treat for you guys today. This is going to be an awesome interview as well as a live stream session. So you guys are going to have the opportunity to not only hear the questions that I ask our guests today, but you'll have the opportunity to ask your own questions, which is going to be great too. So I'm excited for you guys to be here. It's going to be a fun interview. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background with Don as well as Don's background. So today we're going to have Donald H. Kagin, PhD and numismatist. This is his new book that just came out. I was able to get a copy of it. So I did get an awesome personally signed one, number 152 out of 250, which is pretty cool. And we're going to talk a little bit about this book, his new book that just came out, as well as Spanish gold. So we're going to be talking about these guys here. If you haven't seen these before, these are pretty cool. These are Spanish doubloons. We're going to talk quite a bit about these and get a good history on them as well. And there's a new coin that just came out, the fourth in the series, which is going to be exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Don onto the conversation with us, guys. And for those of you that haven't done so yet, hit that thumbs up and also hit subscribe and the bell icon so that you are able to get all these great interviews and get the updates. So I'm going to go ahead and add Don to the stage here. Hey, Don, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
So Don, what I wanted to start off with is just a little bit of not feedback, but a little bit of a background of our experience with each other and kind of our relationship where we started. And the reason I want to do that is I think there is a huge benefit to attending coin shows. And, I had been picking up some of the Spanish gold from other YouTube auctions that were going on. So I picked up like these 10th ounce coins in the past. So you can see the links there. And then I had the privilege of meeting you a couple shows ago briefly. You were on your way out to the airport at the Long Beach Coin Show. And then this past Long Beach Coin Show, we had the opportunity to sit down and have a great dinner. Thank you again for dinner. And we got to pick your brain a little bit of your history, your story, and then get a great understanding of like what it took to get these coins to come into the States, how they even got created in the first place. And so I definitely want to hit that today and talk about the Spanish gold. But before we do that, I would love to get a little bit of a background of who Don is. And it could take a long time, right? Because there's a lot of information there. You're very well accomplished. But what I'd love to do is get a little bit of a background of how you got started into coin collecting in the first place and where that's kind of led you from that point all the way to the point that you started working with the Royal Spanish Mint. And then from there, I would love to talk a little bit more about your book and then also talk more specifically on the Spanish gold coins.
Well, we better get started then.
Yeah, we got a lot of. And then what we'll do at the end here, guys, is I'm going to ask Don a lot of questions here, and we're going to reserve the last 15 minutes or so to go through Q&A for you guys. So do put your questions in, put them in bold, so that we can more easily find them.
Well, I started because my father was in the business before me. I started as a professional in 1933. And worked for a dealer out of Minneapolis, and then we bought up different coin shops in different cities and made the mistake of buying one in Des Moines, Iowa. After he bought it, then he told his boss, who criticized him for having purchased a coin and stamp shop at the time in a small community in Des Moines, Iowa. And Dad, being stubborn, said, well, I'll make it work. And that's what he did. He went national with auctions. His first one was in 1940. His last one was in 1980s. So at one time he had actually cataloged more auctions than anyone else in history. The company now, Kagin's, is wholly owned by me, and it is the oldest family-owned coin company in the United States. I wasn't necessarily going to be a coin dealer. I just found it more interesting than anything else. I was going to go to law school. I got rejected from Harvard and said if I can't go to the best schools, Harvard or Yale, then maybe I'll just continue with my interest in numismatics. Actually, when I was in '68, after I graduated high school, I started working in the summers for my father, cataloging auctions and dealing in coins. So when I graduated college, I went full time. In between, during my junior year, I was at a meeting, at a luncheon for the Senior Honor Society with the provost, the head of academics at Northwestern University, where I was going to school, and he asked me the typical question, what's your major? I said history, but that's not really what I want to do. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I like numismatics. He says, you can do that here. And I said, what? He says, yes, at our College of Arts and Sciences, if you can find the mentors to teach you and to mentor you while you're going through with your requirements, you can get a degree in numismatics. So for the next 2 years, what I did is when I took different courses, I added independent work that had related to numismatics. So just to give you one example, there was a presidential election that was as divided as it is today, and it was featuring the gold. It was the gold standard McKinley, who was running against William Jennings Bryan, who was this orator and great a pastor, but favored the farmers and the rural people and the silver interests. And the country was divided between the western and southern rural and silver interests and the northeastern people who want to continue the gold standard. And so that divided the country, and that was in my history and statistics course. And I wrote an article about the numismatic coins that were used as campaign silver coins to promote the silver issues 16-1 and to promote those interests by William Jennings Bryan, who lost twice. So it was that sort of thing that I did, and I found it fascinating. I could do a lot of research and push the envelope, and I haven't found anything more interesting than numismatics ever since. So I did graduate with a BA degree in numismatics, went on later to get a PhD in numismatics. That's a whole nother story, but I had to move to New York City and work with some of the top people in numismatics and created, and my doctoral dissertation became the reference book on coins of the gold rush called Pioneer. Some people call it territorials, but there wasn't a territory when California issued the gold, or Colorado. So that's part of that was my matriculation. So I got this doctorate in numismatics, and the rest is history. So.
I think it's great. What I loved about the story is that you took initiative to create something that wasn't just standard, which was really cool. That takes someone that has a lot of interest in something to go and create that. Was that a hard process to go through, or was it something you just had to convince one or two people of?
Both. People are offered opportunities all the time. You just have to be prepared to take advantage of it. It's risky, especially when you're trying to do something new. It takes a lot of work and dedication. You just can't be somebody who, oh, let's give it a try. I mean, you really have to have a passion. Most of the coin dealers, my colleagues in this field, as you know, have a passion for numismatics. It's history. I mean, there's no greater artifact that tells us about our civilization than our coinage. So there's so much involved there. I mean, economics, political systems, metallurgy, fashion, foreign languages, as well as history and economics. So it's all wrapped up in coins and paper money, which is another one of our specialties. So there's no lack of areas that you can go into in numismatics and to enjoy and learn about.
Well, and here's what my wife tells me about this hobby. Okay, for me, it's much more than a hobby. I've got a channel now, so it's becoming a business for me as well. But what she loves is there's underlying value to it, right? Everything starts with just about everything, right? Some of the older notes don't necessarily have an intrinsic value to the paper, so to speak, but they have the numismatic qualities of it. But when you look at gold and silver coins in particular, there is a real value to it that's underlying. It is the money. And when you start to add the collectability to it, the history to it, that's where I start to, I think it's fun. So what I wanted to ask you a little bit about is your new book here. So we've got the book here. I've started opening up and going through it. And I just wanted to show a couple pictures to the crowd here of a couple of the coins that really stood out to me. So let me find the one we were just looking at earlier here. This one here. So this was a really cool coin that I saw pictured in here. And the book is a good, solid book, guys. So it's a little heavy for me to make sure I get it on the camera here.
So the book is about privately issued gold coins. So although this wasn't during the gold rushes, this was the first privately issued gold coin, 1787, Ephraim Brasher, and was the first person to regulate gold and then use it as money, and to make these coins to circulate. So he was the first private gold coiner. Standish Berry is another person who was issuing private gold coins prior to our gold rushes, our first one being in the southern Appalachia area, North Carolina and Georgia in 1830. A lot of people don't know about that because the California gold rush was so much bigger in 1848 and 9 and on. And then, of course, the Colorado gold rush. That was the first Greg Norris. That was the first coiner in California to issue gold coins from the gold rush in Benicia, which was a capital. You have the deluxe edition of the book with the leather bound, the $50 gold piece, which epitomizes all the private gold coins and pioneer gold coins.
And that's
struck in San Francisco. Yeah, they're kind of cool because unlike a series like silver dollar or $20 gold pieces that people collect, they all kind of look the same, right? They just have different dates. This, almost every one of the merchants, and there's 30 some different merchants who issue private gold coins, they had different designs for the most part. Some of them tried to look like U.S. coins, but for the most part, they're different designs. It makes them very interesting.
What about this one here?
Cincinnati Mining and Trading. Yes, well, that was a short-lived private gold coiners who shipped coining equipment to when they heard about the gold rush. These were the original 49ers, and melted down the gold dust and made coins to circulate as money.
So I'm going to go a little bit bigger here, Don, just so they can see these here because it's getting in the way of my microphone. But let me just go a little bigger here. I wanted to see if you could tell us a little bit about the description that's at the bottom here too in the book. So we've got a variety with Kagin 3. We've got an edge type. We also have the rarity that's listed on each of these coins in your book.
So in reference books, when you collect, people have different authors that have created a reference book, like Overton for bust halves, or Sheldon for different varieties of large cents. People collect based on their numbering system. Somebody had to do a numbering system. Well, when I was looking to pursue my interest in numismatics, starting like in 1974, my father was interested in pioneer gold, and I found it quite interesting, and realized that there was no comprehensive book on all the private issues of gold coins. Somebody had written about California, someone written about Colorado, the Mormons in Utah, that were the first people to make gold coins from the California gold rush. That's stories in there too. So when my doctoral dissertation was to create this reference book, and I gave them my K number, my Kagin number, and ever since 1981, they've been collected by these K numbers, which identifies each of the different varieties from each of the merchants who issued gold coins as a result of our nation's 3 gold rushes.
So you've got that story there. Is that the story?
Yes, that's quite a story. The Mormons were the first ones to strike coins from not only the California gold rush, but from the Colorado gold rush. A lot of people don't realize that. They're very ambitious, and are a significant part of that story.
And then it looks, let's see, this is the coin. Okay, here we go.
So that's the symbols from the Mormon coins. This was the first gold coin issued as a result of the California gold rush. You see, almost half the population of San Francisco area, as Yerba Buena at the time, was Mormons. They thought that was going to be the promised land. So a number of them came over from New York. Some of them were involved in the war against Mexico. So they ended up there, and many of them were working for a guy named Sutter, Captain Sutter, who had purchased some land and a mill, a fort, and gold. They were working on their Sutter mill when a carpenter found gold in January 24, 1848. So they were the first ones to mine the gold. And then when the season was over, they took much of the gold dust and nuggets as part of their religion. 10% is supposed to go of their earnings, supposed to go to the church. A number of them took them from the Sierras and San Francisco area and took them back to Salt Lake City, where Brigham Young had them fashioned, melted down, created a mint, and issued the first gold coins in December of 1848.
And it looks
even before the U.S. government.
You've got like daily transactions in here.
Well, when you're doing original research and you're writing a reference book, you have to do original work. You have to go to where the archives are, where people's diaries are, where any transactions are taking place. I discovered that as Brigham Young's transaction book for the $20 gold pieces $10 gold pieces that they first struck.
That's really cool. So the other thing I'm going to say about the book, guys, because I'm just starting to dig into it. What's great is he has the time frames of what's happening. He's got great pictures in here. The pictures of the coins. There's even like bars in here too. I saw someone put in there, I wish I had coins, and mentioned they have bars. It wasn't just coins.
Well, again, what they're looking to do is to melt down the gold dust and nuggets and make it into something that people will accept as trade. Otherwise, commerce would suffer and was suffering. So the Moffat and Company, being one of the premier, they had actually worked the Carolina gold fields in 1830. So John Moffat formed a company and went to, when they heard about the California gold rush, came out in June of 49 and started making these bars or ingots first, and then decided that it'd be easier to make the gold coins.
So the other thing I'm noticing on here that's interesting too is we don't see this on coins modernly, or even, technically, I guess if these have a denomination, some people would consider them coins. You've got them called ingots here. You might call them bars, but it has the carat readout on how fine the metal was, right? So we do see that today where you see like 3/9 fine. But everything's pretty standardized now. I'm assuming back then it wasn't super easy to smelt it and to refine it as much.
No, as a matter of fact, they had a lot of difficulty. Even when the San Francisco Assay Office was established and the U.S. branch mint, even in 1854, they couldn't find enough acids to part the gold and this alloys. See, because according to the U.S. mint law, you had to have 10% alloy of copper,
okay,
to harden the gold, which was very soft where the gold was coming from the East Coast. But in California, the natural alloy wasn't copper, was silver. So they had to get that right. They had to get the alloy. They had to get the copper over there. So a number of times, even the U.S. branch mint had to close down for a while, and individual private gold coiners, some who had closed down with the advent of the U.S. mint, had to start to issue new coins. So there would be a medium of exchange. We take it for granted today.
Yeah, we do.
Those modern coins, gold coins, are 999 fine, or they're not, whatever, or they have 1 ounce of gold. They may only be 90% gold, but back then they had to make sure that it was the correct fineness and therefore the correct weight and value per coin. And some of the individual private companies weren't up to snuff. They valued their coins. So instead of being worth $10, they were only worth $8.50 or $9. And when that was found out, it created a recession sometimes, when people were turning back in all these gold coins. There's some great stories. You're interested in the history.
Yeah, I am. So, for me, when I got started with gold and silver, it was back in 2021, Don. I could see inflation was going to start kicking in, and I knew gold was a good hedge against inflation. That's when I started buying gold personally. A couple years prior to that, back in 2019, my dad started giving me these 25-ounce silver bars that are let's just call them an artisan pour from Las Vegas. There was I think it was a B&M mine that was in Vegas for a year in the 70s, and it closed down. And I got these, and I had no idea what am I going to do with these. I used to have some silver eagles when I was in my late elementary school years. I got some of those for my birthday. But I started to, as I got into buying gold as an inflation hedge, I started doing more research on it. And as I started getting into that, I started learning more about, pre-33 gold coins and about other numismatic coins and Morgan dollars and peace dollars. And so there's just a lot of history. I mean, I'm looking at the page after what we were just looking at. And, here's some other great looking coins that look very similar to some of the designs we see, on some of our other coins.
Well, Moffett and Company, like I said, was the premier privately issued coiner, and he was contracted by the U.S. Mint for the U.S. Assay Office and to make coins for them. So he tried to emulate and did pretty well, along with the engraver Kuhner, but they made the coins look very similar to the U.S. gold coins, so they'd be accepted. They just put Moffett and Company on the diadem of the Liberty head, so people could distinguish it. But they tried to, and in Colorado, also Clark Gruber and Company tried to make their coins pretty much look like U.S. coins, so federal coins, so that they would be acceptable.
I think it's awesome. So you guys don't go anywhere. We have a lot more to still go here. We're going to get into some of the Spanish gold in a minute. For those that have interest in this book, how can they purchase it today, Don? And does it come in a couple different versions that they can find?
Yeah, you can go to Amazon or to our website, Kagin's. I think it's the non-deluxe kind, which just doesn't have the signed and numbered and leather bound. I think is with shipping is about $100. And I think the deluxe edition is $125, something like that. With shipping, okay. You can go for sure. But they're available.
I'll try to put a link down after the show, guys, to both. We've got a link to Don's website, but we'll get a link to Amazon too if you want to go pick up the book there as well. You can see the two options. So anyway, I'm enjoying the book so far. I've just started to dig into it. There's quite a bit to go through here. There's a lot of history. Every coin or ingot that's displayed in the book has a nice history to it. There's pictures of the people that were involved. There's a story to it. And then like Don was mentioning, there's also kind of a grading and a numbering system to them as well, which is pretty cool. So Don, I want to shift course just a little bit and take us into modern times here with Spain. And I know you started telling me when we were in person a little bit of the experience of how you got involved in this in the first place. And I'd love to share that with the community. And then in addition to that, I'd love to share with them, the different coins that have been minted so far from Spain. How long has it been since they have minted gold coins? And then I want to show the image that we were just looking at after we do that part of the new um, eagle that's just come out um, from them too. So, and then where's it going? Is the series going to continue? Is it potentially going to come to an end? And so, you guys stay around until the end. We're going to talk about the Spanish gold here, but we're also going to talk about what's happening with it and how can you get your hands on some of it as well. And then I do want to take some Q&A. I'm not seeing a lot of questions in here yet. I think you guys are having fun chatting with each other, which is perfect. But if you've got some very specific questions for Don, please put those in all caps so we can make sure we get to those before we finish the interview. All right. And then another reminder for anybody that's watching this that's not looking in the chat, if you can hit that thumbs up, it just gets more people looking at the video. And this is such a cool experience to be able to be interviewing Don here too. We want to make sure we get this to as many people as possible. So Don, tell me a little bit about Spain. Were you in Spain? Did they call you up? How did they even find out who you were? And how did you get involved in this in the first place?
Very serendipitous. My wife and I, Candace and I, love to go to coin museums around the world. And Madrid, one of the finest in the world. And I contacted a colleague of mine, and he contacted the curator there, and they gave us a real nice VIP treatment. And when it was over, they said, Dr. Kagin, I gave him a copy of my book, and said that my previous book, and he said, my colleague has a question. Spain, after 400 years, has decided to issue their own bullion coin. I said, okay, cool. He says, now we're new at this. Do you know anybody in the United States who's interested in being a distributor? I said, well, I know the usual people. And I contacted them after we got home. And they said, well, because it took 2 years of legislation going through the process to get the coin finally approved and minted, the date was 2021, and this was the end of November of 21. So when I suggested this to some of the major modern issue people and bullion people, they said, look, we're already working on our advertising campaign for the 22 issues, and this is a new mint. So they took a pass. So I had some time on my hands, and so I asked them, well, what would it take to be the exclusive distributor in the United States? And I said, we'll get back to you. And they did, and they told me what it would take, and I said I'd take a shot. Being in vintage coins for 55 years professionally, now I was in the bullion business, but it isn't just a bullion coin. It's a modern proof coin. They decided that they would issue a reverse proof collectible coin of limited quantity of 12,000 of these links, which is their mammal, and and so they charged a little bit more than the typical American Eagle, Kruger, Maple Leafs, because these are hand struck coins. We've been there a couple of times to watch them put the gloves on and physically put the coin in the collar and the stamp each coin. They can only make 350, 400 coins a day when, U.S. Mint can produce tens of thousands of coins a day of American Eagles, right? So these are modern proofs. And I asked them if we could have the exclusive in the world for striking the first 1,000 coins as first day of issues, and they said yes, and we're the only ones that can get them certified. And I sent the first 200 to PCGS and NGC, and then the rest to both grading services, and probably 80% came back. 70 of the links, not so, and the others. Now when they were calling these their links. And we said, that doesn't really resonate in the United States. First of all, we need something that's has something to do maybe with the United States, or something that really we think of when we think of Spain. And I think of bulls, right? So I said, "Oh, okay." And so the next year they made the bulls, and that was very popular. So they actually listened to us. So I went out to my colleagues and said, what are you interested in seeing? They actually sent us different images from the mint. And then I went around to the board floors and had a informal survey of what image you like, and they picked the one that most of the people at the coin shows liked. And that's how we came up with that design. So over time, and then we wanted to call them something else, and we came up with the word doubloon, because when you say doubloon, people think of pirate money and ships and galleons, and
Yep.
so that became the name of this series. And as you mentioned, the Lynx was the 21, the Toro was the 22, the Caballo was the 23, the Stallion 24. I just came back from Spain where we saw them striking the new Eagle, Imperial Eagle. We'll get those later on this month of July, and hopefully we'll have them available at the ANA Coin Show this week in August or soon afterwards. So we're taking orders now for them, and we'll have certified coins. We have some. I picked some up from Spain of the raw coins. We don't have the certified coins yet, but we'll be selling those too. One of 200s, and then FDI's first day of issues.
That sounds good. So any of you that are watching this, if you have interest in picking up any of the Spanish gold coins, I don't think there's any more of the raw Lynxes or even the graded ones. I think
those are sold out, and they're bringing premiums.
Yep.
So
these are bringing premiums. These are going for about $3,000.
Yes, 3,000. I was just, like I said, I was just in Spain. One of the distributors had them there for $3,500. So because you can't get them anymore. We don't even have any. So you can get a few certified pieces, but no raw pieces anymore.
No raw pieces. I actually sold a raw one for $3,000 on eBay.
Good for you.
So that was my last one that went. I'm in the process of be talking to Don about picking up some more, guys. So I will be placing an order soon. If you have any interest, let me know. Send me an email, stackingsurfer@gmail.com. In the title, put in Spanish gold, and let me know what you're interested in. We'll be trying to take an order for channel members as well as those that are subscribers too. Don, one thing I wanted to ask you about is there is a difference between the Lynx and the Toro on the
there is indeed.
Is this the obverse or the reverse of the coin?
Well, they called it the obverse originally, but we traditionally call that the reverse. The Pillars of Hercules, the Camareros, and they added the second year the Toros. You'll see the round piece at the top at 12 o'clock, and that is called a quadruple latent image. It's like a hologram, and as you move it around, we can see the star now. We can see an E for Euro. We can see an M, which is their trademark for the mint, and the fourth one is the Calamarios, the Pillars of Hercules, which show the old and the new world. So there's that connection. So that's the state-of-the-art anti-counterfeiting device on gold coins. No other country has that.
I think it's awesome. And then they do come, so you guys are aware, they come in 1 ounce sizes, okay? So you got these. I'm out of my stallions. I shouldn't say I lost. Someone took it from me they did pay me for it, but they took it. They took it from me because I haven't replaced it yet at the Long Beach Coin Show. So they did take that, but it does come also in a 10th ounce as well.
the reason for that is that when I first showed these to NGC, the grading service in Saratoga, they were so taken with it that they came up with a 5-year plan for Spain that included a 1/10 ounce, knowing that that's a very popular denomination. And Spain said, okay, we'll do it. And that's why we have the 1/10 ounce. And, now we're talking to them. This series may be ending we'll have a 1/10 ounce Imperial Eagle next year. Whether we have another issue or not of the animal series, not sure yet, but we're contemplating a silver issue. Maybe something where there's a connection with the U.S. since we're going to be celebrating our 250th anniversary, and Spain was part of that connection back then. So we may be coming out with something like that next year or in the year after, which is the actual anniversary. So look for that.
Involved in that process, you say we. So are you involved potentially in that as well?
Yes, well, I've been involved from the very beginning. Well, not the first issue, but after the first issue, when we first talked to them, we've had, sometimes weekly, sometimes bi-monthly Zoom calls with my son Adam and myself, who's running the program, and feedback from other coin dealers and people like yourself saying, wouldn't it be cool if, or something like that. So there are, imagine talking to the U.S. Mint and saying, hey, how about doing this for a coin?
Yeah, right.
It doesn't happen. And as a matter of fact, there aren't any other major mints that have one exclusive distributor that I know of. Until now, I think there's another one that does just Rakoa that does this British mint, I think. But before that, this year, I think it was like 6 different major distributors in the United States. So we're the only ones. You want to get one that's kind of through one of our distributors here in the United States.
So guys, let me know. We can get you guys some of that through working with Don. We can get some coins. So part of it is getting enough that it makes sense to go that route versus just getting them direct from one of the online dealers that's selling them. So Don, I want to show real quick the Eagle here. So everybody can see that real fast. So I'm going to do a screen share. You guys are going to see an infinity screen here for a second. Oh, why is it not working now? Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to show this. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, it's coming through. Okay. So first off, the images are so high resolution that you've been able to share, Don. These are great. Will this coin also come in a 1/10 ounce?
Yes, probably February or March.
But that Eagle's beautiful. I have to say about half of the Eagles I see on U.S. coins I like. The other half I'm kind of iffy on. That is a beautiful picture of an Eagle there.
They do great work. We were able to meet the designers, the engravers, and watch them work on this.
And then let's see the reverse here.
There you go.
You just can't see the etching's not going to work in there, but that's where the safety security feature is going to be, guys, up there at the top. One other thing to point out, it is 24 karat gold as well. So 49's fine at the bottom here. And it is an ounce. All right, so I wanted to show that real quick. And then, Don, I have a couple questions for you here that I want to make sure we hit with you too. Okay, there we go. We'll bring it back up close. So real quick, we had a super chat from Vincent Leone. Thank you very much. So we'll throw that back up there. Thank you for support. And we had another one from Yankee Stacking. He's got a large channel here, Don. He's probably someone we ought to introduce you to talk to. He says he feels almost embarrassed to just be a stacker here. I thought that was funny. But this is a great question from my friend Sean Precious Bullion. He's asking about silver. Spain. I always think of Spain as silver and swords. Is kind of what I think of from history. Is there a possibility of seeing any of these coins minted in a silver version?
We've been talking to them about a silver version for a while. The problem with silver versions, a non-proof silver version, is the VAT tax in Spain. They have 21% they have to charge over there, and also the amount of issues. So we have, however, I believe, convinced them now that even if it's not a coin, a silver coin of one of these designs, that there may be a new one, which I alluded to earlier, that may have a different theme, perhaps a theme of United States and Spanish connection, or something else, but probably a proof coin. That makes sense. Maybe 10, 15, 20,000, limited quantity. And then we'll have them certified, a certain amount of them. That's planning for 2025.
Okay.
So we hope to see that then.
I think that would be awesome. I'd love to have you back on to share that news too.
Be happy to.
And the cool thing, so what I'm hearing from you is there's some additional costs that go into place with their VAT tax to where you're not going to be able to get a coin that is going to be super close to spot price. It's just not feasible to listen.
Yeah, that was the problem. We, as a relatively new mint, competing with the American Eagles and Philharmonics and Britannias, etc., it had to be a certain price point to be competitive, especially if people are just buying it for the bullion value. And frankly, there's not a lot of money to be made in providing that. We'd probably do it just to break even, actually, to be competitive and to get the more people would be exposed to the Spanish mint product, and they understand that. But the more we looked into it, the more we came up with, well, probably just a proof coin, maybe not reverse proof like these, maybe just a regular proof coin. Okay. So as we get closer, we actually will reach out through you, we hope, and others, and say, what would you like to see? So the gentleman or lady who sent the email, what design would you like to see? What do you want to see it in a proof or business strike, or what would be of interest to you? And we do communicate with this mint, and they do respond to us.
That's awesome. So I'm going to put a challenge out to anybody watching this video today, those in the live stream and those watching it later on. Send me an email, stackingsurfer@gmail.com. Put in the title Spanish silver, and then what I'd like you to do is put in there what would you like to see design wise, and would you be willing to buy a proof? Is that something you'd have interest in? And then let's do the same thing for gold. For any of the future gold, I'd love to hear what you guys have for design. You can put gold and silver both if you want to hit both of them, but I'll compile that and I'll get an email to you, Don, with a bunch of that information in it.
Well, also a couple of things. One, they have said that they like it to have some connection with the United States, okay, as well as Spain. And what price point would you want to see, like on a proof coin? What price would be compelling to buy one or two, or maybe even a quantity?
Okay, I think that's great. So a couple other questions that came up, I'm going to throw up on the screen here real quick. I don't know if you can give us some ballparks. I know each of the coins may be a little bit priced differently. And some of the ones that aren't available are definitely going to be on the secondary market, which means they could be considerably higher. But what typically, if you're buying at a retail, standpoint, either from your site or from another retailer, what's the typical price for a 1 ounce gold coin versus a 10th ounce?
The 1 ounce gold eagles will be 9%. Will be the it's 10% in Europe. Most of the distributors sell them for 10%. We sell them in the United States, North America, for 9% over spot gold. Okay, so whatever spot gold is, and just add 9%. We offer a custom box, a certificate of authenticity, COA, to go with it. When you buy that, buy those. The 1/10 ounce is typically somewhere, I think they're 19%, something like, I believe that's the usual amount, 19% over melt. They carry a bigger premium, but it's still, a $300 something coin. I mean, it isn't that high a price point. And again, they're all reverse proofs.
That's what I was just going to say. When you guys have to really realize, I don't have another gold coin in front of me, but that's a reverse proof. Okay, so the field is matte, and I'm going to screw up. What is the name of the image?
That's a lynx.
No, but the technical term for
the matte, or the mirror surface versus a matte.
Yeah, there you go. So mirror surface versus the matte surface. So that is in reverse from what you would see on a typical coin, guys. And that
on a typical proof coin.
Yeah, on a typical proof coin. If it's not a proof coin, it's all going to be matte, right? It's all going to be uniform. But the key here is these are limited mintage, right? They're not being minted the same amount and the same quantities as a lot of other coins out there, especially the other sovereign countries that are minting coins. We mint a lot more silver eagles. You've got reverse proof. Well, first it's a proof, and then it's a reverse proof. And then you can find out there the first 200, I believe, that were struck, as well as...
Yes, we issued the first 200, some by PCGS, some by NGC, and then some first day of issues. Don't know if there's very many left of those, but I'll have to check.
Okay, and I got another good question for you here too. So this one here, Don, as a numismatist, have you ever encountered the old Hawaiian silver and gold certificates that were made prior to 1900? If so, do you have information on those notes before they were destroyed?
There's a book out on them, and I do have some information on them. And you can contact me, don@kagins.com, and we can talk about it. I did handle some of the early paper currency that was issued in Hawaii. I auctioned one of the finest collections, about 3 years ago, of the early Hawaiian currency, mid to 1800s. So and like I said, there's books out on it, so I can help you with that.
So here's another question. Do you sell like the 10th ounces by the tube by any chance?
No, we can put them in a tube for you though. they all are encapsulated.
They are. These cases are original. These are from. This is how they come from Don.
Yeah,
Don.
And the 1/10 also.
Yeah.
Right. So they have. When we receive them, they aren't in tubes. They are individually put on and held tight so they don't move around. So we actually have suggested that they make a tube for them, but so far they haven't done that. But again, you can get boxes for them.
Yeah, you get the boxes too. So you're going to find them in different formats, guys. You're going to find them potentially slightly different in price from time to time. If you're looking in the secondary market, do your research. Check and see, like, for example, if you're going on YouTube, not YouTube, eBay, just a reminder of eBay, guys, go up there and check what's been sold versus what the asking price is for current coins as well. You just want to make sure what you're getting the right story. Some people are putting pretty high prices on there. Like, for example, this one is listed on eBay at $3,500. There's no way I'm parting with it for under $3,500. And I will probably take it off soon just to hold on to it. So There is some collectability to it. I paid a lot less than that for these coins in the first place. Many of these coins I'm going to say, have already gone up about 30–40% for me in value. And I've been able to add to my stack by selling some of those coins because I bought some of them in bulk. At one of the shows we were at, I bought 10 of the Lynxes, and I already had 10 Toros too, and I've been able to sell most of those pretty fast. So, these do have a fun collectability to them. They are modern coins. They are bullion today, but I think these will be ones that can become more collectible, especially over time. These would be great ones to hand down in your family. This was another comment someone made. It's not a question. It's more of just a comment around those lines of, it might be fun to see like a reissue of some of the older designs on modern coins.
I think that's up for consideration. Absolutely. So if you have any ideas, if you have any particular old Spanish coin designs that you'd like to see in a 2025, send it to us.
So here's a fun question for you, Don. I don't know what your answer is going to be on this one. But do you think a few gold coins can buy a house property in the future? So I think what they're referring to is, today it would take many gold coins to buy a house in the United States. Do we get to a point where gold becomes so valued, or maybe revalued against the US dollar, that you could potentially, due to hyperinflation, have a situation where people are able to use a few gold coins to buy a house?
You won't find a lot of hype from my company on gold and the potential. I think it's a great store of value, one of the best there is. I'm not a survivalist or somebody who thinks that the country is going to go to hell no matter who we elect as president or whatever. I think we're too strong for that. But I can tell you, you can buy 100 years ago, you could buy a very nice suit for an ounce of gold. 50 years ago, you could buy a very nice suit for an ounce of gold. Today, you can buy a very nice suit for an ounce of gold. So it holds its value as well as anything. And you have the extra potential that it's private, easy to store. You can take it around the world. And it's something that could go up even more if circumstances show. There's only, I think the statistic is that goes around is that you can store all the gold in the world in one Olympic-sized swimming pool, all the gold. And so you have a finite supply, something that everyone recognizes as value worldwide. So you have a lot of advantages, not just the potential for it to go up, as well as being a great store of value.
I agree, guys. Gold has a finite supply. Yes, a meteor could come along with a bunch of gold in it. I don't think it's going to happen. So don't count on that stuff. Same with being able to buy a house with an ounce of gold. Is it possible? It is. It happened in Germany, okay? But we're only looking at maybe 2 or 3 countries where we're aware of that kind of a situation's happened. Maybe Venezuela is another one. Don't buy gold thinking that you're going to be able to use an ounce or two to buy a house down the road. That's not the reason you should be buying this stuff. In my opinion, you're buying bullion because it's money, and it's a way to store your value outside of the US dollar if you want to do that. The other side of it is it's beauty, right? They're beautiful coins. And then when you start to get to coins that are about 100 years old or older, you're starting to get into history. You're starting to get into coins that may have a smaller population from what was minted because of confiscation here in the US, or just over time they get lost. My oldest coin is a Athena Al silver coin from Greece that's about 400 BC, which is a really cool coin. And I overpaid for it because the specimen I was able to get my hands on is a really cool version of it that the reverse and the obverse are exactly lined up. You rarely see that they strike that well. And it is graded, it's authenticated and everything. And it's one of the more shiny ones. Some of them in that hoard tend to be, dull. Others are a little bit shinier. But I think it's fun. I also have some Roman coins that are from about 200 AD or so. So, I think it's fun to start looking into more of these coins to have. Now, it's not what I would stack for my money that I might use to sell to buy something in the future. That's going to be more my bullion that I do that with, guys. But I do think that's pretty cool. So Elle was bringing this up to you. What forms of payment do you accept on your site? I'm assuming it's probably mostly credit card, but do you guys take wire transfers or bank?
Yeah, we give as a matter of fact, we give a cash discount for wires and checks, but we do take credit cards. Yeah.
Okay. And then what I'll throw out for you guys too, if we have enough people that can pull together, we may be able to get a little bit of a discount off some of the retail. Okay. I'm not going to say that too loud, but we may be able to do a little bit of a little bit better pricing for you guys. Everything comes from Don. Don completely benefits from it as well. But the more we're able to move those, the more we can get a little preferential treatment on that pricing for you guys. So let me know. Send me an email if you have interest in that as well. Let's see what other questions we might have. I think we had a couple other in here. A briefcase of cash. I don't think you guys are doing that. All right, let's see here. Maybe we are through our questions there. So if you guys have any last questions, throw them in real quick. Otherwise, I've got just a few more for Don real quick. So Don, looking at this, we've got your book we went over. How many books have you written, and are those also available on Amazon?
I've written 5 books, I believe. I have the reference books on the first circulating currency in the United States from the War of 1812.
Okay.
I have that can be acquired through our website or maybe Amazon still. The first edition of my book, and that came out in 1981, also had the pattern coins and restrikes. So these are coins that were considered to be, and usually not in gold. They were in copper or white metal or silver, and those companies that made those. So it's a more comprehensive book as far as that story.
Okay.
That book is available out of print, but we do have a few copies that they can get from us. I have a book on how to make money and how to profit from rare gold and silver now. Okay. Came out a few years ago, but it actually probably 85% of it's still valid because it tells us about the coin industry, the different cycles that we go through when buying and investing in coins. So, and that can be purchased for a discounted price. I don't know if it's still up for sale on Amazon. Excuse me, but you could get them through me.
Okay.
Excuse me.
My allergies have been kicking in here in California. The pollution. Maybe it's catching you up there in the Bay Area. Hopefully you feel better.
Maybe we should end this.
Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and end it real quick, guys. So, Don, I want to thank you for coming on.
Sure.
I want to thank everybody for coming into the chat. If you've got any questions for Don, you can reach him on his email. It's in the chat here. You can also send me a question, and I can send it on to him too. If you've got interest in buying some of the Spanish gold, you can reach out to him directly on his site. You can find it on eBay. There's other not channel members, but other channels that might be selling it on their auctions. I'm also looking to maybe do a bulk order here soon too. So if you guys have interest in getting into that, let me know, and we can put that out to him as well. So until next time, everybody, peace out, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Don.